You know what I find a little weird? As of production, it has been 7 years since I've last been to Tanglewood Mall. Now, I did go back in 2021, but I think it was due for another revisit anyway, and man, things sure have changed. But still, you can still see some signs of things happening here. I'll explain as we go along. Tanglewood Mall got its start back in the early 70s with T.D. Steele at the helm and T.A. Carter as the architect. Work would officially begin on May 6, 1971, and original anchors would have been J.C. Penney, Leggett, Miller & Rhodes, and G.C. Murphy's. At the time, predating the Interstate 581 spur, the crossroads of US 220 and Virginia Route 419 was seen as a highly desirable and convenient part of Roanoke. And I'd say that the retail corridor that has sprouted around the mall reflects that to this day. Yeah, this place isn't what it used to be, but the little Christmas display is still pretty decent. The mall officially opened in 1973, and at the time was considered the largest mall west of Richmond. The interior would consist of dark parquetry wood floors, 3 large fountains, and tinted glass along a more unique 2-floor design. While I can't find a specific date of the mall itself opening, multiple inlines hosted grand opening sales throughout 1973. With the most prominent name being the Mountain Trust Bank with prize raffles for opening a new account with them. Other names during this time included Wilco, John Norman's, Leeds Music Center, Bathtique, Merle Norman, which is still here after all this time, K&W Cafeterias, and World Bazaar, among many other names. The mall was clearly a hit when it started, receiving Kroger and a General Cinema as outparcels near Penny's. In 1979 would start with G.C. Murphy closing their store with a closeout sale. And this was addressed with some interesting measures that make me wonder the mall's interior back then. If anyone has photos, let me know where I can view them. Somewhere other than Facebook, preferably. Ugh. The Murphy's store was effectively gutted and redesigned to accommodate a food court on the upper level, which opened in 1982. Meanwhile, the lower level was cleared out to make way for smaller stores. What I find particularly interesting is that the Murphy's Mart escalators were retained and repurposed as part of the mall's center court. Wilco's closure in 1982 would come out of left field apparently, but this was also addressed by subletting the store into smaller spaces, which included TJ Maxx and a store called Brendel's. Enter 1985, and with the opening of direct competitor Valley View Mall, renovations were officially announced. These renovations would strip away the dark and moody earth tones of the original mall and replace them with softer pastels and Mediterranean tile. Judging by the old photo in a December 1985 issue of the Roanoke Times, It's not quite the look we have today, but it brought us much closer there. Newer plants were brought in, the fountains, while remaining, were much quieter, and the new atrium windows were installed to give the mall a much brighter look. And finally, there was the inclusion of a glass elevator near Leggett, improving accessibility between the two floors. Now, between 1985 and the 2000s renovations, a lot of store changes happened. Miller & Rhodes was out in 1989, and the store would be chopped up to make way for smaller stores once more. 1995 would see Goodies arrive with Steinmart following, the former opening up in a space that was at one point the elusive French Quarter. 1998 would see a 10-screen cinema open as an outparcel near the back end of the mall, and roughly around 1996, Leggett would be bought out and replaced by Belk, whom remains today, at least as of the making of this video. In 2005, we'd finally see the renovations unfold, which would make room for new tenants, as well as refreshing the mall's overall image. And this is the look that we ultimately have today. Only one fountain and a few planters remain. However, by this time, vacancy problems were already beginning to manifest, and even more stores came and went over the late 2000s, which I'll spare you with as we're pressed for time. As a result, Tanglewood Mall began pivoting to less traditional tenants, starting with a branch of the Miller-Mott Technical College in 2010, which remained until 2021. An AC Moore on site would close in 2019 before being reopened as Michaels. TJ Maxx at one point relocated outside of the mall and moved in next to Staples on the west side. Steinmart was done in 2020, and JCPenney was already long gone after 2017. However, post-2020 winds of change bring new things to the mall. Carillion Clinic would lease JCPenney, opening up a pediatrics center as well as a specialty pharmacy. I distinctly remember work being done as well as welding fumes in the building over the course of 2021. Without parcels going up in the lot outside, as well as the newer tenants inside the mall, and even the addition of a YMCA in the closed-off area of the mall, this tells me that Blackwater Resources seems intent on keeping the mall as, well, a mall, while finding new life for the place. Seems like it isn't going anywhere. Until next time, Roanoke, Virginia, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you, and the Tanglewood Mall, farewell, and good luck in the future.